Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is a Chuwi V99, which is an Android tablet with a 9.7-inch 2048 by 1536 pixel display, which is to say that it's about the same size screen and same resolution screen as a recent Apple iPad with a Retina display, but it costs significantly less, with a starting price of around $290 from Pandawill, or if you go to AliExpress, you can find some sellers offering it for as little as $250. So why is it so much less money than an iPad? Well, first of all, it's a Chinese tablet from a company that you've probably never heard of called Chuwi. And second of all, while the build quality is pretty good, the performance is a little bit more mixed, but we'll get to that in a second. First, let's take a quick look at what you get with the tablet. It's got a micro USB port, SD card slot, or rather micro SD card slot, and a power jack. You can't charge it through the USB port, you have to charge it through the power jack. Headset jack and speaker, and there's another speaker all the way on the other end. We've got a power button here, a back button, and a volume rocker. Now, I don't know why there's a back button here, because there are on-screen buttons. This runs Google Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, and there's no home button, there's no recent apps button, just a back button. I think it's pretty much just there to confuse you into thinking that it's a home button. There's a little 2-megapixel front-facing camera and a 2-megapixel rear-facing camera. There's no LED flash, no autofocus, no bells and whistles there, and there's no ambient light sensors. So if you want to adjust the brightness, you're going to have to do it manually. You can't do it automatically. This is powered by a Rockchip RK3066 processor. It's a 1.6 gigahertz dual-core processor, and it's got about 1 gig of RAM and 16 gigs of storage. And as you can see, that's good enough for your basic sort of animations and that sort of effect. And performance on benchmarks is pretty good. Sorry, there's construction going on outside the window. I don't know if you can hear that here, but performance is pretty good once applications are up and running. So, you know, what sort of things might you want to do with a tablet that has a high-resolution display? Say, read ebooks. It takes a little while for this to launch, but once it does, it looks pretty good. And you can adjust the fonts and make them larger, smaller, and so forth. Comic books, magazines also look pretty good. And I find comics and magazines are a sort of content that I think is really kind of difficult to read on a 7-inch tablet. 9.7-inch displays look much better, especially when you've got this sharp screen so that the text doesn't look too tiny. So, in general, I've been pretty impressed with that sort of experience here. And it's taking a moment for this to load. And that's really sort of the other thing that I wanted to mention here, though, is, as I said, it does well on benchmarks, it does pretty well with web browsing, but it sometimes takes a while for applications to load, and once they do load, while they run pretty quickly, switching between applications can be a little sluggish. So I hit the recent apps menu, and it takes a little while to pop up there. Go ahead and load a web browser. And at this point, nothing's really happening. I guess it says it's loading, but I don't see any progress meter. Let's try. Sometimes things sort of slow down a little bit to the point where the keyboard doesn't even want to come up, but right now it seems to be working reasonably well. And you can see screen rotation works pretty well too. But it's taking a while to load web pages. So again, performance is a little bit of a mixed bag. Right now it's doing pretty well, but I just rebooted it. Another thing is that the battery life is, it's got a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and it actually gets about 10 hours of battery life, which is pretty impressive. I've noticed that when you're running it for a long time, sometimes you might run into some problems. When I got down to about 20% battery, it didn't seem to want to multitask very well. I was listening to music while surfing the web, and every time I left the music player to go to the web browser, it the music stopped playing. I rebooted the tablet and everything sort of came up fine. And again, the web browser is being a little finicky here. Okay, so it just doesn't want to load Liliputing. But here's my personal blog. A couple of book reviews and other things. And you can see that the web browser works pretty well when things are up and running. In terms of general performance, it's not quite as fast as what you would expect from a tablet with, say, an NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor, but it's faster than one with a TI OMAP 4430 dual-core processor. So, you know, generally faster than the Kindle Fire, not quite as fast as a Google Nexus 7. Higher resolution display than either. And it does have a couple of nice features, such as it comes with this Explorer, and you'll notice that it says SD card, internal memory, and USB. That's because you can actually not only plug in a SD card for removable storage or access your internal storage, but there's a cable that comes with the tablet that lets you plug in a USB flash drive or other external storage. It supports USB Otg that way. You can also use that cable to plug in a keyboard, mouse, or other accessories. Downsides, I've found that some applications just don't work. So while the device does come with access to the Google Play Store, when I look for certain applications, like the Amazon Kindle app, well, that was interesting. When you look for certain applications, such as the Amazon Kindle application, if it comes up, you'll see a notice saying that it doesn't support this particular tablet. Likewise, the Netflix application doesn't support this tablet, and so forth. Now, if you were paying attention, you notice I'm actually running the Kindle app. If you download the Kindle app, here we go, your device is not compatible. If you download the Kindle app from a different source, say the Amazon App Store, it runs perfectly fine on this tablet. So it's just that the Google Play Store isn't aware that it works and tells you that you can't download it. The Netflix app, on the other hand, I just couldn't get to run. Same goes for the Google Play Movies application, couldn't get it to run. Movies in general do look fine on here if you're using the YouTube application or you have something stored on local storage and you want to watch it full screen. It can handle video playback, it just won't use the Netflix app. And I tried several different versions of the Netflix app and couldn't find one that works. So, not a perfect tablet. You've got some incompatible applications, you've got occasional performance slowdowns. As you saw while I was running this test, it didn't do what I thought it would do, which is start to get slow when switching between different applications, but it did get slow when doing going to the Play Store and trying to load some web pages and other things. Here we go. So now I'm having a hard time switching applications as well. So it does lock up from time to time, but if you're looking for a relatively inexpensive tablet with a great display and stellar battery life, you could do worse than this guy for less than $300, as long as you're able to sort of deal with those quirks in terms of performance. But once you've got apps up and running, you can use it for reading digital media, watching videos, and you know, overall, it's not a bad tablet by any means. And it's one of the first devices available for Android with a 4:3 aspect ratio display and a Retina style display. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing and a look at the Chuwi V99 tablet. You can find more details in our full review at liliputing.com.